Yeah, I'm Mike Howard. I'm the director of bands at Vandegrift High School in Austin, Texas. Yeah, that's what I do.
Welcome to Sketchbook Podcast, a discussion about inspiration and process with artists, creators, and designers. As usual, I'm your host, Daniel Montoya Jr. I often talk with people and joke with them about how crazy it is that the people I went to college with are now the who's who of Texas band. People I saw bleary-eyed every morning for theory and oral, people I heard sing terribly off-key in voice class, and people that would hang out in the lobby, skip classes, and go to Grins, Sack and Pack, or China Bistro. And in my case, we have people who were lucky enough to play some of my earliest compositions in percussion ensemble and band. Mike, you have had the luxury of participating in two of my most infamous pieces, El Matador y la Rosa, which will never see the light of day, and Crystal Microphone. What do you remember about either of those pieces?
First of all, I actually have a video of El Matador y la Rosa.
God, you sure do.
Crystal Microphone was probably the most challenging 3-4 weeks of my life. And I remember you telling me after the fact that you wrote it like you did just to see if I could do it. So yeah, there was that. I don't remember is the percussion ensemble piece, was that the one that you wrote for 4 timpani that really needed 7 timpani?
Oh, that was the Canyon.
Okay.
That was the one that Paul played timpani, right? Or did
yes.
And then did you play with the Rapids? I don't know if you had left by that point.
I think I did play the Rapids.
Oh God.
Yeah. I have a lot of experience.
You have a lot of, which is why you probably don't play my music now, because you remember what it was 20 years ago. You're like, oh crap. You might be the second guest on this podcast to actually like the Dallas Cowboys. So I have a few questions I'd like to ask you, Mike. Why do you like the Dallas Cowboys?
You know, I grew up a Cowboys fan. It is America's team. We are currently undefeated in the 2020 season. So there's that. We have a new coach.
Yeah. How do you feel about Mike McCarthy?
You know, I think it's probably a good hire. He's a pretty aggressive dude. So I don't know how much he's going to appreciate Jerry Jones coaching the Dallas Cowboys, but
right.
Yeah, I grew up a Cowboys fan. I grew up not around Dallas. I don't necessarily even enjoy being in Dallas very much, but my dad was a Cowboys fan and my family was, and that's just what we did.
How do you feel about all the Eagles fans and Cowboys haters that have come onto this podcast?
I think it's unfortunate. You know what I mean? People always push back against greatness, and that's how things work.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, this is the best episode ever already.
It's been a long 22 years. Was it?
Well, they won in '95 was the last championship, right?
90
or was it 96? Oh, was
Barry
it
Switzer?
That's right, of the Oklahoma Sooners.
That's right.
Barry Switzer did win.
But yeah, it's so,
But it's
been a little bit of a dry spell.
A little bit, that's correct.
But a good fan sticks it out.
Through thick and thin.
You
are the quintessential Cowboys fan.
Yes. I try to be.
But you are also a good Spurs fan.
I love Los Spurs.
Oh, I know. Hey, when I interviewed Paul, I think we were both not sure how the Spurs would do this year. But right now, isn't it, if the playoffs started,
we would be the 8th seed.
God,
we would.
My God,
we would be the 8th seed playing the I think the LA Lakers right now.
Insane. Well, they've got a good history with LeBron and the Lakers.
Yeah. It's been a rough season.
It has been.
When I started as a first Spurs fan, that was rough. My first Spurs game was in the Hemisphere Arena.
Wow, you're old.
Went and saw them play the Milwaukee Bucks. I remember standing outside the Lila Cockrell Theater waiting in line to get into the Hemisphere Arena to see the Spurs.
Gervin the Iceman, was he still on there?
No. This is after the Iceman, unfortunately. But
wow.
Big Spurs fan growing up.
Yes.
That was back. That was pre-Rodman.
That's right. Rodman was on the Spurs
days. So
my gosh.
This is probably right before they finished the Alamo Dome and moved over to the Alamo Dome.
Now, did you have a say in Vandegrift High School choosing the silver and black as the school colors?
No, that was chosen ahead of time, but I can't tell you, didn't help sway my decision to make the move from Houston to
Right.
black and silver. That was icing on the cake.
Yeah, right there, obviously. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Mike, so let's ask a first serious question now.
Okay.
What drives you as a teacher, musician, person, etc.?
Oh,
Right off the bat.
right off the bat.
A heater right down the middle.
I don't know. I love the journey of trying to make something that's not something into something great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the process, I love if we're talking about band or music education, I love the process of coaching students. I think it's one of the greatest things about marching band is you get to talk a lot about people becoming better people. And you just get to take this thing that's not a thing and you don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
I've had shows that we've done that I thought were going to be great that I didn't like as much, and shows that I didn't think were going to work that it just worked.
Sure.
And it's just neat to see it all progress and just the constant drive towards trying to find something great or excellence and all those cliches that we hear. It's great. I love it.
Wow, that's solid. That's solid. What would you say is your most prized material possession?
Ooh.
I'm assuming it's a fishing pole of some sort.
Ooh. I do like to fish. Material possession.
Yeah, because if I say what's your prized possession, people might go, "Oh, my family." Which, yes, that's why I'm going straight up for material.
I know. You're gonna have to edit out this pause.
Okay, 6:45 already. We're 6 minutes in.
Oh, prize material possession.
You might be the most stumped person ever.
And I have a lot of, we're not real into stuff. I wish I could say pick an experience.
Oh, well, that's why I asked possession.
I have, this is going to sound kind of funny. I have my grandmother's, that was willed to me, an Italian made piano accordion.
Whoa.
That was made by the Wurlitzer company. It's got mother of pearl keys.
Oh,
and
geez.
it's fully functioning. It's beautiful. And I think if the house caught on fire, God willing, I would get my wife and kids out.
Sure.
And anything that had pictures.
Of course.
Yeah. I'd probably go in and grab that accordion, to be honest with you.
Wow. Can you play the accordion?
Off the record, yes.
I'll edit that out. So 2019 was a great year for Mike Howard and the Vandegrift High School Band Program. In February, the Vandegrift High School Wind Ensemble performed their 6A State Honor Band Concert in San Antonio, Texas at TMEA. In the summer, Howard and Paul Pape won their division in the Texas Water Safari. The Vandegrift Marching Band won the Bands of America Class 4A Championship and is the Grand National Champion in November. And in December, the Vandegrift Band was awarded the 2019 Sudler Shield, an international award recognizing high school, youth, and international marching bands of world-class excellence. I'm not done. The Vandegrift Band also were the UIL State Marching Contest bronze medal winners in 2018, silver medal winners in 2015, and gold medal winners, or the state champions, in 2013. Michael, both Jeremy Spicer and I would put you on the Mount Rushmore of active band directors. So directors like Amanda Drinkwater, Phil Geiger, etc. wouldn't be eligible because they're no longer active teachers. And your Texas Water Safari buddy, Paul Pape, calls you the best band director in the country. How does it feel to hear your peers talk about you in such high esteem?
It's nice. But then you go to school and we just started reading a new piece for the first time today, and you do that, and it brings everything back down to, to the real stuff.
Sure.
Which is it's cool, it's neat, but it's a group effort that we've all done together to get there. It's a family effort that my wife and I have endured with all the time.
Business.
Hashtag right. Family business. We've endured a lot of time that's been spent developing that program to do all this stuff. So it's great. It's exciting, Yeah. It's when we were outside Evans Auditorium eating Laffy Taffy 20 whatever years. Is that 20 years? That's 20 years ago.
It was a long time ago.
It's unexpected.
I think we all knew we were going to do things.
Yeah.
Did we know we were going to do what we're doing? I don't know.
Yeah,
Wow.
This I guess 2020 has some.
Big shoes
some
to
pressure
fill.
on
What are you going to do?
2020.
What
I
do you
don't
do
know.
for an encore.
I'll take
Mike?
a year off.
I think a lot of coaches take a year off, right? They win the Super Bowl. Maybe you should just go coach the Cowboys.
That I try to from my couch. I think I could do better.
I'm sure a lot of people could.
Yep.
But who knows? Well, you've had such a great year, and Vandegrift has had a long tradition of excellence, if you go with the Bands of America thing, both on the field, off the field, etc. So tell us, how hard is it to be good, Mike?
It is tedious. It's tedious. It takes a lot of work, but I think people worry a little too much about what Bands of America or UIL or TMEA thinks is good. And I think it causes them to put undue pressure on themselves in the process. My goal for the staff and the kids and the students is just to put tunnel vision on and focus on ourselves and have kind of unreasonable expectations for ourselves. And then hopefully when we go out into public, people think we're better than I or we actually think we are.
Sure.
And some years that's the case, and some years not. But it's tough. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of commitment from the whole family, not just from me, right. To the program and to the process. But it's yielded some pretty outstanding experiences for me and for Amber and for who's my wife, for those of you listening. And
shout out to Amber.
Shout out to Amber, H-Town. And
that's right.
It's certainly for the students at the Vandegrift High School band.
Sure.
I will say, some of the students that were here, that were there in the beginning, that didn't get to experience all of those things.
Right.
Those were still also some special groups.
Sure.
Some pretty memorable times. Those little bitty bands that just, if any of them are listening, that weren't very good, but they ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah.
Well, it's like when Spicer was on earlier, he talked about year one. It was just you and him.
Woo.
You had like 45 kids, I think, and you were one ordinal away from advancing to state, in what was then 4A, I think.
What was then 4A?
Yeah, you were the state alternate with 45 kids, no guard, no battery.
That band, playing some outstanding music arranged by
who? Who did that? Oh my God! Wow! Thank you for bringing that up, Mike.
One of the writers for the Vandegrift High School band sitting right here.
That is correct. Yep. I can always claim that I wrote for the Grand National Champion band, just not at the time.
That group, I would say that group probably had the most travel from where it started to where it ended of maybe any that I've gotten to be a part of. Mm-hmm. But it was a little. It was tough. A little bitty band.
It was the little band that could, huh?
It was.
Now, Mike, on your way over here, maybe you were listening to radio, music, talk radio. I don't know. What is the last piece of music that you listened to?
Actually, well, it was this morning. I would listen to talk radio on the way over here. I listened to Come Sunday, actually, by Omar Thomas, because we're going to be performing that with the Vandegrift Wind Ensemble.
Cool.
So I was trying to dig into that a little bit more while my daughter slept on the way to school before a sectional that I was about to have with my low brass.
Cool. That's a fun tune.
Yeah, it seems like it will be.
Yeah. If anything, it's a fun tune. I really dig that. I like his music. I like him. Mike, how many episodes of this podcast that you have called, quote, pretty well done have you listened to?
I could take the pretty off. We'll call it well done.
You also said you were begrudgingly impressed.
That was near the beginning. Well, I try not to. There's so much marching band in my life that spending my off time listening to marching band podcasts.
Yeah.
While it is a little bit of a guilty pleasure.
Sure.
Isn't necessarily how I would expect to spend my free time.
Of course.
But. Mm-hmm. After I did force myself to listen to the first one, which was actually may have been your last Grand Nationals podcast.
Where we talked about y'all?
Yeah, but
Is it where I ate crow on there? You were like, take that.
Yeah.
I knew it once it happened. It was like, all right, I got to make sure I admit what I said and put it at the beginning and go like, all right.
When I knew it before the podcast, Jeremy had already told me, Daniel says y'all are winning. Which was good. It gave me added motivation the week.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Screw everyone else. I'm going to get Daniel on that one. So
I may have listened to Paul B. Pape's
yes, an oldie but
podcast.
Goodie. Yeah. No.
And the Daniel Morrison podcast.
Yeah. What'd you think about that one?
He's great.
He's a nice guy.
His hair looked nice. It sounded nice in the podcast.
It did,
you know what I mean?
I felt an aura.
Were you starstruck?
I was
sitting there with him
with
for that
a
long?
model. We were in Chicago.
It's on his turf.
We were on his turf. That is absolutely right. So, which did you listen to? Jeremy Wayne Spicer.
I listened to Jeremy Wayne Spicer's podcast.
Yeah. So, which is your favorite that you've listened to? So
See,
far?
now you're putting me on the spot because I know all these people.
That's right. Let's put it out there for everyone to say.
I liked Paul's.
Because he talked about the Texas Water Safari?
Well, yes. Except for the fact that he forgot that it's called the world's toughest canoe race.
I can't believe this guy.
When he listens to that, I won't say severely disappointed, but
you
was quite. He also forgot that it's 264 miles, not 260.
And you didn't even have to look this up.
But he's usually so out of it and hallucinating by those last 4 miles. He probably doesn't know they exist. No, Paul's was good. I thought he said some good stuff about the job and about, do the job and do a great job, or, if it's not what you want to be doing, then go do something else.
Yeah. Which episode's your least favorite? Which one's the worst?
Well, probably one that I haven't listened to yet.
We'll go with that one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably the one where I said, I don't think Vander's going to win Grand National.
Probably that. I did not go back and I would imagine that was one that happened between the Super Regional and Grand Nationals.
It was the Super Regional one.
Longest 2 weeks of my life.
I bet. I can only imagine. Yeah, good for you. You still look the same age, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cold those 2 weeks.
You probably slept a lot these last 2 weeks too, right?
It was fantastic.
I bet.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Mike, you attended Hondo High School.
Go Owls.
What was it like growing up in the mean streets of Hondo, Texas?
It was very different from what my students experienced at Vandegrift.
You think?
The things I can say on this podcast would be that it was a small school.
Mm-hmm. Were they 3A, 4A?
At the time, 3A, which would be now 4A. I graduated with 110 students.
Wow. Yeah, you probably knew everyone.
I knew everyone, and they knew me, and everybody knows everybody's business.
Makes sense.
Which was a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, I was part of the Mighty Owl Band.
Mm-hmm, the mob, yes.
Not the mob.
Not the mob.
I'm confused with those
correct.
guys.
It's copyright,
you know what I mean?
Trademark, yeah.
Which is a good 4A band, 3A at the time.
Yeah.
Good 3A band. My dad was one of the band directors there. So
Mr. Howard.
Mr. Howard. The other Mr. Howard.
Yes.
And it was cool. I liked it. We had an hour-long off-campus lunch every day.
I did too when I was in high school.
So
where did you go though?
Well, that's the thing. Hondo, which is a really small agricultural town, farming town that usually people just drive through on their way to get to somewhere else like Garner State Park or something like that.
Sure.
Hondo has an abnormally large number of fast food restaurants because the high school students, everybody got out for an hour every day. And
really?
You go to McDonald's, there was a Schlotzsky's.
You had a Schlotzsky's in
Schlotzsky's, and this is 1994.
Yeah, it was like Austin and then Hondo.
Yeah. We had a Schlotzsky's, we had there's a Whataburger now, but we had Billy Bob's hamburgers.
Oh, were those good?
It was fantastic.
I bet they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Church's Chicken.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
You're with me on that.
I do know what you mean.
But yeah, it was great. It's really different from what these students experience. We could do everything. So I could be in the one act play, and I could play sports, and I could be in band.
Did you play sports?
I did.
What'd you play?
I played football.
Oh my God, what position?
I was a defensive end.
Oh,
for the Hondo Owls, yeah.
First string?
Until I quit football, which was quite frowned upon in that town.
Oh
yes.
My God. So you can focus on your band?
Yeah, to quit football for band in Hondo, Texas
my God.
was not a popular decision, but it worked out.
I think so. Now, how many state football championships has Hondo won since you quit?
They haven't won any.
How many state championships have you won since you quit playing football?
In football,
Since you quit playing football, now in band you've won
1-1.
But
you know?
and how many?
You throw a national one in there.
You have national, and you won the state honor band, which is like winning.
That is.
So you've won 3.
I'll take the 3. That sounds
sorry,
better.
Hondo.
Sounds better. Than
Shouldn't have gotten mad at Mike. So you mentioned your dad was a band director, but why band? Why percussion? Or did I just answer my question?
My dad was actually not just a band director. He's a drummer in San Antonio. You know, when I was little, he was probably playing 5 or 6 nights a week in San Antonio. So I don't know that there was ever another thing, to be honest with you. I remember being little, running around in my dad's football games and with my brothers, my 2 older brothers, probably tackling me and, you know, assaulting me in some sort. But it was a thing that I think I always knew that I wanted to do. I actually loved playing. I started as a drum set player and kind of continued on from there and got into, I thought I was a good percussionist in high school, like all high school students do. And I was pretty found out pretty quickly in the beginning of college that I didn't really learn how to read music. Even though I could get around on the marimba. Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just always it was always there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, Michael, as a teacher, educator, designer, etc., whatever you want to call it, you're exposed to so many people. Who is a designer or a performer or a teacher or a composer, whatever, that we should be listening to right now?
Right now?
Sure.
Man, I honestly think if we're talking music, you know, if we're talking band music, are we talking band music right now?
You can talk about whatever you want.
I think it's constantly something old and something new. That's been kind of a mantra of mine for the last couple of years. I went through a phase where I was not introducing myself to new composers and new music.
That's surprising to me, Mike. I've never heard such a thing.
So I'm trying to, while I'm expanding my knowledge of older band music and orchestral literature, trying to listen to more new music. And try to play more new music with my group, with my band. That's actually been the thing. I always try and stick to both.
Right.
You know, it helps all of us. But people that other people should be listening to, if we're talking band directors, I think they should, anybody that you know, even take the pieces that have won the big awards. If it's won the Ravelli Award in the last 10 years, go listen to it.
Yeah.
Or look at the score. That's a great thing about new music is all those scores are online. You can actually peruse the scores.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know.
That works.
That's a tough answer. That's a tough question, I should say.
Well, if you'd listened to enough episodes, you would know I'm going to ask that one.
Yeah.
That's fine. You probably didn't prep for this. Mike, you are currently part of one of the most prestigious groups in the world, a group of like-minded folks who are handpicked and personally invited. People have been clamoring for years to get into this group, and you are an OG member. Of course, I'm referring to the Austin Powers Fantasy Football League. Mike, what is your team name?
Can we actually go back to talking about all the successful things that I've done?
Oh, no. You're very successful. You have won a trophy multiple times.
Is it 3?
Yes, it is. So what's your team name?
The Miramar Mavericks.
And can you explain that to the people listening at home?
I would call it a connoisseur of Top Gun.
The movie, yes.
The movie, yes. If there were paraphernalia available, I would,
yeah,
I would purchase it. No, it's off of it's from Top Gun. Miramar, obviously being where Top Gun is located.
Correct. We're sending you to Miramar.
And the Mavericks, referring to Lieutenant Pete Mitchell's
that's right.
call sign.
His call sign, Maverick.
Which is Maverick, yeah.
That is right.
I figured it'd be, would bring me a little more luck in the league.
Well, he didn't win Top Gun, so
yeah, but he's
Tom Cruise. So
he's Tom Cruise.
I get you. How'd your team do this year, Mike?
We were down there. It was low. We were not last.
You were not last.
We were not. I think were we third to last?
Second or third to last.
Let's go
Correct.
third to
could
last.
be
Sounds
third.
good.
I think Paul might have been second to last.
Yeah, I think he was.
He was
definitely behind.
It was close. For those who don't know, and if you don't know, you haven't been listening to the podcast. You, Mike Howard, were the 2012, 2014, and 2015 winner of the Austin Powers Fantasy Football League Howie Vandell, the trophy given to the last place team in the league. A trophy that is named in honor of not only Vandegrift High School, but yourself. Tell us about your overall experiences in the league.
I've tried. It went downhill for me. Look, so I had 1 year.
That's my favorite story.
I did get third place.
One year you got
one time I got third place.
You got the money.
I had the first pick in the draft, and this is when running backs that was a thing. You had to have your running backs, and I drafted. Was it the two running back? It was Adrian Peterson, was number one.
Pick. Yes.
And who obviously went on to beat his child.
He was suspended, yes.
Yeah. And then what's the guy's name?
Ray
Rice. Ray Rice, who went on to beat his girlfriend.
So your top two picks.
Yeah. So my top two picks, I blame the draft party. It was too early. Had the draft party happen 4 days later.
Yes, that is correct.
Then it all would have worked out for me. But I lost my top two draft picks. I will say this, especially with the commissioner of the league being nearby. I've never played a hole. Played a hole. I don't pull a...
Not a lot of people can say that.
I won't talk about some other friends of mine that may also be percussionists.
That's right. Yeah.
But I always play the best possible scenario that ESPN.com says I have, and it's just, I'm just bad at it.
You're not going to go down with that fight. But like you said, as I was picking up the trophy, that trophy has brought you and the Vandegrift High School band a lot of good juju, mojo.
I am a little superstitious, actually. So just a little part of me wanted one of us to win it again and just keep it there at the band hall.
Yeah. Is Dustin Tharp good at fantasy football? If he's bad, we'll put him in. I don't think Dustin would be good at fantasy football. So we might need to trade him in. Sorry, Katie, you're out.
Yeah, I don't know how well he would do.
Well, that's good enough. That's good enough for us.
Sounds like a good member.
It would. Katie did her part for 2 years, and then she went ahead and got second place this year.
Yeah, she did.
What a drag! I can't believe that. Why are LISD band directors so bad at fantasy football, except for apparently Katie Van Doren? Even though we know Katie didn't do her team this year. I'm going on the record again.
I think it's unfortunately too much focus on marching band during the football season.
Right.
It's a lack of effort. Joe Hobbs's own personal fantasy football prowess has unfortunately deflated a little bit since he came to Vandegrift. I feel a little bit bad.
Y'all are.
He hadn't had a good season.
You're jinx.
We might be. I don't know if we're just spending too much time doing marching band,
You're just too good at band, apparently.
Yeah. What do you do?
Right. So we've talked bad about LASD band directors. Let's talk good about them now. What is so special about Leander I.S.D? Because along with Louisville ISD, basically your two school districts are dominating concert and marching band in the state. Like that's the reality where we're at right now. What do you think the secret to LASD is?
I think it's really a constant effort to just steal from each other and help each other, and support each other, and we're competitive with each other. I think, or for example, I think what Robert does at Leander, the way he does band at Leander is fantastic. It's exactly how I think band should be done in terms of how the programs run and how the kids, the experience they get from band. Obviously, our two bands are pretty different.
Very much so, yes.
But there's just we push each other, but we respect each other enough to basically, anytime Robert were to call and need something, he knows that I would be happy to share anything that I can share, and vice versa. I think people would be surprised to see what the culture is with all the directors together. I've been in some other places in the state where it's, I won't call it cutthroat, but there's just an unnecessary cold shoulder approach to, sharing what everybody's doing. But everybody's on board to help each other out, and they want to see each other be successful.
Yeah, I gotcha. So I have my theory on this, Mike, but if not band, what else would you be doing?
I can do anything.
Anything.
I think I would be a professional fisherman.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
I think I would be pretty solid.
Are you a good fisherman? Fisher person, sorry.
I don't get to fish a lot right now.
Oh, well. Is it not fishing season?
I'm going to say what any fisherman should say, and I'm going to say, hell yes, I'm a good fisherman. But no, is it not fishing season? It's always fishing season.
Is it? I don't know.
There's no season for fish.
Oh, really?
You can fish anytime you want.
Oh, okay, great.
No, I think that'd be pretty cool. The only worry about it, though, I need to be a independently wealthy professional fisherman because I don't want to have to feel the pressure of having to catch fish,
Right, yeah. You just want it to be a hobby. You don't want it to be your job.
I just want to hang out on the lake and,
yeah,
go fishing all day. That'd be pretty solid.
Yeah, that sounds like what I think. That's what I was going to say.
It'd be good. I would do that, or I would teach history. I'm kind of a history.
You and Jeremy. Is that why you and Jeremy get along?
Maybe so. Wow. I'm a history nerd. Only if I could teach hand-selected students, though.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't want to. General population is not. It's not my thing.
Oh God. All right.
I'm just kidding.
That's the secret.
I'm just kidding.
That's the Leander I.S.D. secret.
No.
Mike, you are a percussionist by trade, but at some point you gave up teaching percussion. What led you to that decision?
I did. That was a decision in 2004. I was going to apply for the open vacancy for the percussion director at Leander High, actually, at the time.
Really? That's the one. That one's an interesting story.
That is a whole other story that happened after that, which I ended up not applying. I kind of had to make the choice at that point. Mm-hmm. I had done a lot of percussion stuff in Austin and the surrounding area. So do I stay in Austin and be percussion guy, or do I go and try and start being a band director?
Right.
So I made the choice to leave and be a band director. That's what I wanted to do. So I went to Houston and I opened Morton Ranch High School in Katy ISD.
That is correct.
And but the guy I worked with at the time, his name is Ronnie Todd. Mm-hmm. I was really blessed to have him bring Eddie Green on, and Mr. Green came and would work with me each month and basically teach me a lot of the things that I unfortunately did not learn at the Southwest Texas State University.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a choice that I made right at the beginning of my career, and I thought the best thing for me to do is just to get out of town and to go learn and to be seen as a band director. When an opportunity arose, the plan was always, I think, for Amber and I, both of us wanted to get back to Central Texas, but I wanted to come back to Central Texas as a band director. Right. Even though I was, and you can tell Paul this, the first percussion director.
I was going to say that in 2009
at Vandegrift High School. I taught all three of them. Yeah, and the other five double reeds.
I was going to say the double in the pit, right?
Were playing.
Was that the last front ensemble book you wrote? One of?
That was the last front ensemble book I wrote. That's correct. That's the last anything I wrote, I think, in terms of music.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a special. It was a special book accompanying a special win book. I felt good about it.
I think so. If y'all had gone to state, I don't think Jeremy. Yeah, he would have hired me. Still, it's okay. So Mike, what do you think of those percussionists who come out of college and say, "I don't want to teach a band. I just want to teach drums"?
I think it's fine.
Oh,
I think that's what I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay.
We're fortunate in Texas to have a lot of those opportunities available. Take Joe Hobbs, for example, who's our percussion director at Vandegrift. He's amazing. And that's just what he wants to do.
Sure.
I told him, I said, hey man, we got the Sudler Shield concert coming up. Oh. And I said, well, I want you to conduct on that concert. You want to conduct wind ensemble or symphonic band? What do you want to do? What do we want to do? And let's get a percussion ensemble onto the concert.
Of course.
There's guys that's what they want to do. Yeah. And honestly, that's what I want at Vandegrift, somebody that's going to focus on just percussion from 6 through 12 and making sure all of that works. Such a big piece of what we do, but I don't think there's a problem with it.
Sure.
I do think if it's a school, there's a lot of places where, they're going to need to be able to do a band. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good skill set to have.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with going right into percussion. I know when Paul was with us, he had zero interest in teaching a band. Mm-hmm.
And he'd
But
already
yeah.
did it before too, so.
That he did.
Yes.
That he did.
That's right. So my research team tells me your favorite movie version of a musical is Les Mis, and that Russell Crowe is your favorite part of that movie. Please elaborate for us.
Oh, man. What a mistake. It is good. You know, that's a cool... I like Les Mis, and I like the fact that it's live singing, and I like Russell Crowe.
He's a great actor.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I could watch The Gladiator right now.
Yes.
But I could not... Oh, it was just terrible.
Can you give us a little bit of your impression of Russell Crowe singing?
I don't know if I could do that on the podcast.
That is my favorite thing.
Yeah, and my hope for you is anytime you have Les Mis come on that you can visualize me impersonating Russell Crowe. I don't know if I could do it anymore. But he would, it's like if you were to hold your nose, you know what I mean, and squeeze as much pressure in your body as possible and start singing. That's how you go. That's how you do it.
Do you?
And I don't know. I wasn't real impressed with Eddie Redmayne either. I know the ladies will be upset with that.
Oh God, a lot of letters being
There's a
written
little
right
Kermit
now.
the Frog-ish.
I would
for
agree
me.
with that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But,
and what's her face? Amanda Seyfried. She had like a lot of high.
yeah,
What?
It's too vibrato's too fast for me.
I agree.
Cool,
Yeah, slow it
cool
down.
it off,
That's
girlfriend.
right.
Come
Just
on.
Cool it down. So, do you have a favorite musical, Michael?
Favorite musical? I'd have to go classic. I think Fiddler on the Roof is probably my favorite musical. I do like a lot of the newer stuff just because I think it's bringing a whole new generation of people into musical theater. Obviously, Hamilton is awesome. I actually have not seen it, unfortunately, but I
saw
will.
it for the first time. It was great.
How was it? Was it everything
Chicago.
you expected it to be? That's a lot of hype.
Okay, so number one, the seats weren't great. Not a bad thing, Jason Robb, because he got us the seats. But two people just sat down in front of us that were taller than us, so we were watching it with our heads cocked to the side. So that's the first problem. And number two, our Aaron Burr was awful. Like,
Really?
he was not good. Over enunciating every word, and it's. I understand everyone's different. You're not going to get Leslie Odom Jr., but he was not good. And Dear Theodosia comes out, and you expect to be moved to tears and wait for it, and we're very let down.
Now, was he a fill-in for that night?
No,
or he's the guy.
He's the guy. And apparently one of my friends saw it with an understudy and said the understudy was really good. So I don't know, but the Hamilton guy, he was good. I really liked him.
Yeah, I love Hamilton. I think it's great. I'm a history nerd, and
Yeah.
I think it's modern, and the kids like it, the students like it, and they like theater.
All the kids.
But I like Fiddler on the Roof. I don't know what it is about it. I've
Good
always
music.
loved it. It's been one of my favorites. But yeah, I like musical theater quite a bit.
That's
unlike my good friend Paul Pape, who can't stand musical theater.
What?
Funny story, Paul. Aaron Burr comes on. It's in the A's on my iPod. So
yeah, of course.
when I
When
plug
you
it in,
that's the first thing that
it's
comes
the first thing that comes on. So whenever Paul gets in the car, it's always Hamilton that comes on. And I know Paul thinks I have this secret weird obsession that I'm still stuck on it. But
Right. Wow. Sorry, Paul Pape, for that.
It's fine.
So, Mike, what would you say has been the most rewarding project thus far in your illustrious career?
Well, that's tough.
Thank you.
I would honestly say probably preparing and performing the honor band concert. Yeah, that was pretty. It was tough, and it was a journey, and that actual experience and that particular concert, and just the crowd and the way everything, the relationship that had been created between the ensemble and the crowd by the end of the concert.
Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty special.
Yeah.
There's been some special marching experiences too, but that was just for me personally.
Oh, yeah.
And having my whole family there, and my dad there, and my brother there, and my wife and I and kids all experiencing that together. It was kind of a culminating from when I was a little kid learning how to play the drums to then
For sure.
evening and just journey.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
And that's like an event that very few people get to say they got to do.
It's hard.
Like you're in a super, like almost like a president's fraternity. There's only how many honor band winners?
It is. It's a small group. It's one of those things where you just hope you have the right, the honor band thing. The top 4 or 5 groups could all be selected as honor band.
Right.
I mean, they're fantastic. So you just hope maybe the panel, if we're serving vanilla or strawberry, that's what they like.
Exactly.
But that I would probably put that as number one. It sticks out in my head as number one.
That was a great, and it was just almost a year ago. Can you believe that?
I'm actually really looking forward.
I was going to say
to a relaxed TMEA convention.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing much except for I'm going to a bunch of meetings, I guess.
But
I'm gonna enjoy just sitting and watching the honor band concert. That's for sure.
Right, and go.
But it was awesome. The Maslanka Symphony was great. It was fun. It's
my favorite band piece of all time.
Credit Joe Hobbs for actually helping me suck it up. I would say, and Jeremy Spicer, they were probably the two that told me to quit whining and just play it.
Yeah. Hey, what did you play on your honor band submission tape?
My honor band submission tape. We played Pines of Rome.
That's a good song.
Yeah, it was solid. We played Masks and Machines by Paul Dooley.
It's an interesting piece. How did you come across that, Mike?
It's funny you asked that.
It is funny I asked that.
That was a suggestion by Daniel Montoya Jr.
Wait a minute. Did I say it to you directly?
Yeah. I think it was really Hands Across the Sea by Sousa that pushed us over, but you did suggest that to us.
That is correct.
That's true. I got to give you credit.
You found out much later.
I did find out much later.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So I'll take my honor band medal at some point.
It's at the band. I'll just swing by.
Cool.
They don't give medals for that thing, but
you'll have medal ceremonies like
fun.
10 times a year. God, surely you have some extras lying around.
That's a good piece. You like that piece.
Yeah. Well, I think Flowerman played it also.
They did, yeah.
So
they played it a couple of years before.
At Midwest, right? I think, or
no, they actually submitted it.
Okay, that's what they did.
I guess it'd be 4 years ago.
Yeah. And it's one of those, like you said, he didn't win the Ravelli, but it won
the Sousa Oswalt.
Yeah. So when you're talking about pieces, I was like, you should look at this one. So yeah,
and it was great. It worked out.
You're welcome. Because the selection's what got it. Mike, who would you say some of your heroes or inspirations have been?
I would say Tom Shine.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely Dick Floyd, who works with us on a regular basis at Vandegrift and just works with me in terms of helping me. Mm-hmm. I would say Jeremy Spicer and Paul. Both of those guys are still people that I reach out to on a regular basis in places of. I try not to ever vent on social media about anything. I have very specific people that help me through those situations.
Yeah.
Eddie Green, as I mentioned before, early on was a huge influence on me. The first thing he told me, I'll never forget, was he watched me teach a band rehearsal, and the band was just it was not very good. And he said, you really don't know what you're doing at all. He said, but you're smart, so it's okay. And that we started from there, and we moved on from there. But yeah, I would say that's the group. My dad was probably the reason I became a band director. So without that upbringing, I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing.
Of course.
I'd be, coaching the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. How many Super Bowls would you have won by now? All of them?
Not all of them.
Yeah.
Probably just one.
With Romo, probably? Or with Dak?
With Romo.
Because not with Quincy, that's for sure.
Had Jason Garrett not iced his own kicker.
Oh, my God.
They may have won that game. I wouldn't have iced my own kicker, so
there you go.
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
No, there's a whole host of music educators. Gary Markham is somebody that offers me a lot of counsel, especially just in dealing with the program. And he comes out in the spring and works with us and hangs out for a couple of days. Here in town, my go-to, I've got a problem guy when it comes to the Vandegrift band is Kerry Taylor.
Oh yeah,
so
from Westlake High School.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot of years of band. So
just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, as mentioned, you graduated from Fair Old S-Dub, the Southwest Texas State University, in 2004.
Eat 'em up.
That's over 15 years ago, as we were doing the math, because we're in 2020 now.
Should be more than this is my 16th year teaching.
Yeah, 16th year teaching. It's crazy. So, my first question is, why did you decide to go to Fair Old SWT?
Man, it was actually, there's two things. First one was Jim Hudson.
Yep.
Who actually came to my house in Hondo, Texas.
My God, it was like a football coach.
And he had dinner with us, with my family, and we all he talked to us about Southwest Texas, and that, that's uncommon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I auditioned at 2 places, at the University of Texas.
Ooh,
at
George
Austin,
Frock, right?
Mr. Frock, yeah. And my brother was a student there, and I auditioned at Southwest Texas. At that time, they had the top 10% rule, so you kind of go where you wanted to go. I happened to be 11th out of a class of 110, so it worked out for me.
Yeah, barely.
I went to those 2 auditions pretty close together, and the UT audition, I was always going to go to UT. That was always going to be my thing. That's what I was going to do. I went to the audition, and it was fine. It was dry. It was kind of I may have had a friend in my ear at the time telling me maybe not to go be a percussionist at UT at the time. That certainly didn't help. But I went to Southwest Texas. I'll never forget. I went in, I played my audition, and I came out, and there's like 5 or 6 dudes outside the percussion room, between the band hall and the percussion room. And they just all started talking to me and said, "Hey, you sound great, blah, blah, blah. What's your name?" And we met, we talked, and I hung out with those guys for a little bit, and it's just walked around. It was the right fit.
That's awesome.
I knew immediately that that's what I wanted to do. And it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite G to PG-13 memories that you can talk about from your time at Southwest Texas?
Here's one of my favorite memories. I'm not going to talk about meeting my wife because I did meet my wife my sophomore year. Actually, no, I met her my freshman year, and I did not get her to go on a date with me till my senior year. So she was not. It took me 4 years to impress her enough to go out with me. But couple of super memorable moments. I would say one of my most memorable music moments, as you know, at the end of every concert, when we would load all the percussion back to the band hall,
correct,
would always tell John Stansberry, the famous John Stansberry, "Hey, you want to go to the Square?"
That's right.
And we would, "Hey, you want to go to what's the place right down the street?
Tavern?
Tavern.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to Tavern?" And he would always laugh and he would joke. And this is right towards the time of him not doing the Wind Ensemble anymore, right towards me graduating. After 4 years of Wind Ensemble concerts, of telling Stansberry that, I don't remember who was with us, me and Brandon Estes and somebody else. It was after graduation, and we're all putting the percussion equipment up. And we said, "Hey, Stansberry, you want to go to the Tavern?" And he said, "Yeah." And we thought he was joking, so we went, and we all went over across the street to the Tavern, and sure enough, Stansberry came across there and hung out with us one time.
Right.
So that was awesome. I re-met my wife at the Rose Garden China Bistro.
Was she working there?
She was not. We met at a teacher job fair that I was forced to go to.
That's right.
I already had a job.
I remember this. You were living in South Austin.
I was living in South Austin on Manchac.
Roland Chavez, Brandon Estes, and your brother, maybe?
Yes, Club 1028.
Club 1028.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh my God.
The crossing apartments.
That's right, because GoldenEye was being played 24 hours a day.
Slaughter and Manchac, or Big Lebowski.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was forced to go to this job fair, so I was like, "Screw it, y'all gonna make me go? I'm gonna wear some dingy shorts and flip flops and a little t-shirt." So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I bumped into Amber, and we all went to the China Bistro, which is the place where all good things happen.
That's correct.
The Rose Garden, non-existent.
Rip.
Yeah, rest in peace. And that was a special day. Next thing you know, 4 months later, I'm engaged and living in Houston.
That's right. And then what? 13 months later, you had a baby?
13 months later, built a house, had a baby, and next thing you know, here we go. Everybody's looking at me like, going, "What's going on over there?"
Well, I remember because you were an Amber that say y'all were going to buy a boat, and then it was like, "Oh wait, we're going to have a kid."
The boat didn't. It took another 14 or 15 years for the boat to work out. We finally got it though. We both times in our marriage that we thought about buying a boat. Amber became pregnant, and we had both of our kids. and we love both of our kids. But
Of course.
I think we're good with 2.
Sure.
So we were hesitant
you
to
were
talk
afraid.
about getting another boat.
Because
You just never know.
never know.
Again, like I said, I'm pretty superstitious. So, but yeah.
yeah, all right, that's cool. So, all right, Mike, I have a scenario for you. You are driving for an extended period of time with your BFF for life, Jeremy Spicer. What music is playing in the car?
It's probably country music from the 80s or maybe the 70s.
Oh, yeah, that's Jeremy said the same thing. Old school country music.
Maybe a show tune thrown
I would
in
imagine.
here or there.
I think there was a time from Sassy, y'all rolled up and there was show tunes being played in the car.
Well, that's how we try and impress people. You roll down the windows, you turn it up loud.
Yeah, and you play Fiddler on the roof.
That's right.
If I were a rich man, you're like, what's up, baby?
You belt it out. Maybe Summer Lovin' from Grease. You're feeling,
if you're feeling sassy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it like I could. You're asking for the falsetto.
That's right.
The John Travolta.
That's we had to retire it.
Yeah, we pick a different. You got to move on to new things.
We do. I get you. So Mike, you've been at 3 different schools. You've had a lot of time to reflect and learn and grow. And I'm not saying you've stopped learning and stopped growing, but you're at a point now. What do you wish you knew before you became a band director?
I wish I knew how important it was going to be to know how to play, or at least an understanding how to play like a woodwind instrument or a brass instrument.
Which is so crazy because you're like a woodwind master now.
I wouldn't say master, but our woodwind teacher at the time at Southwest Texas University would oftentimes, let us out after 5 to 7 minutes of class
to go to,
which at the time seemed like a great time.
It was a great idea until you had to teach.
Great idea, and there was a lot of things I didn't realize I needed to know that I needed to know. Just as a percussionist, knowing how to actually use wind to make a sound,
right?
all was all important. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do think I learned a bunch of what I needed to know marching drum corps, and just in terms of learning how to work hard and how to deal with adversity and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, I would say actually learning the instruments in college.
Yeah, that's important. So when Jeremy was at Vandegrift, he's a trumpet player. Stephanie's a trumpet player. Stephanie
Correct.
Grody when she was there, and Paul Pate was the percussionist.
Correct.
So you were the woodwind guy.
I was the woodwind guy.
And what is Dustin Tharp? What's his natural instrument?
He's a euphonium player.
So again, you're the woodwind guy because Katie's a mellow, or horn rather. Sorry, Katie. And then Dustin's euphonium and Joe Hobbs, right?
Yeah, but it's all learnable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
if
sure.
You're a band director, you should be able to teach all the people in the band. That's one of the things that drives me crazy about band directors. They want to give information on all the instruments except for the people in the back.
Well, because they don't want to learn about it.
I guess.
And
not.
you're like, I learned about it.
I learned about it. They got to teach those guys back there too.
That's right. Well, see, so you, Bobby Castillo, who are the other percussionists that gave up, quote unquote, teaching percussion to become a full-fledged, like well-rounded head band director?
Oh, you want the list?
Like Greg Dick is Greg Dick.
I mean, if we want to take it all the way back,
here we go.
We could talk about Frederick Fennell.
I was just explaining my wife. She was asking about the history of wind band. We were on a walk, and I go, "Here we go." And I said, "Frederick Fennell."
Frederick Fennell was a percussionist. Greg Dick was a percussionist.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Hames, who I think was a great concert band director, was a percussionist. Mm-hmm. Newly minted professor at LSU, Clifford
Crooms is a percussionist.
Mm-hmm. I think our new up and coming pure percussionist band director, Mr. Ryan Cerna, Leander I.S.D.
Grapevine
at
Cerna.
Leander High School.
I forget. I mean, we know he's a percussionist, but
yeah, he's full on band director now.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing, and I think he's going to do an awesome job.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a couple more famous ones that I'm leaving off that are percussionists, and I wish I could remember. But some good ones.
Yeah, and you have Rick Rodriguez who's done a band and still does percussion, so he hasn't given up percussion entirely.
Well, Rick's a great example of basically making whatever he's going to do good.
Yeah, because he does jazz band, it's good. Yes. He does concert band, it's good. He does percussion, he's kind of good at that.
And then he just talks about how not good it is.
I just makes seriously. He's like, oh man,
he's a sandbagger.
We suck this year. Didn't you just win the contest? Yeah, but
oh, he is awesome.
Yeah,
he's the man.
He's great. When you see him on the sideline, he's like all sweating because he thinks it's awful. And I'm like, man, are you listening to what I'm listening to? Your snares just came out.
Yes.
But that's like what my brother says, and other people say. Great band directors think they're bad. Or their band's not good because it's never good enough, and
yes, it is.
And all you hear are the mistakes.
It's hard to ever enjoy it. I've actually only gone up to watch the Vandegrift Marching Band one time,
and let me guess, it was the encore.
No, I did go up and watch that, which I probably shouldn't have. But the
yes,
yeah,
probably the worst performance of your four, but understandably so.
Yeah, I guess I should have stayed on the field. No, it was the BOA finals. I went up. Paul Pape convinced me to go up, and it was BOA Super Regional Finals in 2015.
What show was that one?
It was a Planet show.
Oh yes, the Proxima
Centauri. Yes, and that was the show where this snare drummer's drum fell off, and the entire bass drum line fell over backwards over the drum. The video doesn't exist. You won't find it if you look for it. But
you've just challenged the TexasBands.com nerds to find it now.
Let's leave it off. That's the last time I just can't do it. I stay down with the kids. And
now, have you always been a pacer, or did Jeremy instill that pacing into you?
I'm pretty fidgety person.
And now you don't do it nearly as aggressively as Jeremy did, but you go back.
I like to call it a calm walk from place to place. I kind of create a place that I want to watch each part of the show.
And that's what I was going to say. With Jeremy, it seemed like he was just erratic, right? With you, it's like, nope, now I got to go over here. Like you've mapped out your path, like you just said. So yeah.
But at the place where, if it's an electronic moment, I want to be able to see Joe Hobbs' face so I can see if everything's working or not. I kind of have a different spot. Yeah. I find that kid that I know is going to be out of step in one spot and see if we can roll the dice and they're not, But yeah, it gives me some feeling of control, even though I have no control at all.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the minute you got to Indy, you had no control, right?
No.
Because the work's been done.
Yeah. So I fought the good fight, though, in that exhibit hall.
I'm sure.
Till the bitter end.
Till the bitter end, Manny Maldonado.
Yeah. In those warm-up spaces that are just silly and ridiculous. But, it is what it is. Necessary evil for the facility.
It seemed to work out in your favor.
It was great.
Yeah.
Great trip.
Of course it was. We got some trophies.
It was fun.
We came home.
It was fun.
So what do you think is the official state song of Texas? F Around the Room or the Patterson Chorale?
Well, as an avid Texan, I would say "Texas Our Texas" is actually
that is the
state song of Texas.
Right, that's right.
But I would have to go. F Around the Room.
F Around the Room, yes.
Yeah, over the Patterson Chorale. There's a lot of other chorales to choose from.
There are
maybe a chorale that you're actually going to have to perform in the piece that you're working on.
Nobody does that.
Yeah, they were there.
Here's some tips. So you've mentioned, and this was one of my questions, that your first quote unquote real job was at Morton Ranch High School in Katy ISD, and this was the first school that you helped in opening up. That's right. Then you moved to a new school. So what were some of the differences or challenges of opening that school, if you can remember opening this new school in the ranch of Morton?
It was definitely a different challenge. There's always a challenge of opening a new school. But I would say the level of, at that time in that district, the level of support for the arts was just, I don't think what the level of support was in Leander. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the support we got from school admin, local admin was, in Leander was just different. Mm-hmm. It was a slower opening. If there's anything I learned actually from Morton Ranch, and it's kind of become a mantra, and I know Chris Yee talks about this. I've stolen it from him a little bit. Anything that's going to be great's got to start fast. It's got to go. And I think Jeremy and I probably, not that we did not work hard, because I think we worked hard when we opened Morton Ranch, but every second Jeremy and I had to teach, like we were teaching. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Those students that year needed a lot of teaching.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just different. It's a different area as well. They're in Houston, but I definitely learned a lot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That carried over to
Vandegrift. Mm-hmm. But it was a great experience opening a new school for the first time. That was also, I was a first year teacher, so I don't know what the hell I was doing.
Did you pick anything like the school song or the fight song or anything at that school?
Oh man, I don't think I picked the school song or fight song for that school. Mm-hmm. A lot of that stuff was kind of done ahead of time. I picked, even the instrument inventory was pre-selected, and we couldn't really change it, and it was kind of weird.
Gotcha.
We were ordering multiple sets of Mallet Tech bells, but one marimba, stuff like that. It's just, it was
amplification wasn't a thing back then.
It was odd. I will say Vandegrift, I did write the words to the fight song.
Did you?
Yeah. In the whatever that corridor is outside the Opera House at University of North Texas.
Yes.
Yeah. Really? And those words are hanging on the gym, on the wall of the gym.
Are you on the sheet music?
On the choir part. I'm on the choir part. Yeah, we kind of got the school song locked in, and I know Jeremy had worked really hard with Charlie, our principal, getting that right and getting the words right. We got to the fight song. We picked the LSU fight song, and I think Jeremy was like, "Hey, Mike, just go figure out some words. Make sure silver and black and attack are in there, and let's move
Viper
on."
Strike. Did you put Viper Strike in there?
Yeah, Vipers.
Oh. It's going to retcon some of this.
Well, I will tell you this. I stole the end of the Bobcat fight song, the drum tag.
Chicka-da-dump, chicka-da-dump.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I stuck a Viper Strike right there. VHS, Viper Strike.
Very good. Look at that. And he's doing, right now, he's doing the Viper Strike hand sign.
Yeah. We actually had a principal at the time that was a SWT alumni, and he knew immediately what it was from. He was so excited.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, I could take that. I can take the choral lyrics to my grave there, the credit.
And I'm jumping around because it doesn't matter. Was it your decision, your choice to use Never Walk as the school song?
It was actually a recommendation that Bob Cresty gave to Jeremy. Mm-hmm. And of course, when Jeremy called me and said, "Hey, what do you think about Never Walk?" Of course, I was all about it.
You were all in.
I love Never Walk. The fans of the opposing football team don't appreciate that our school song lasts 7 times longer than everybody else's school song. But I think it's great.
Yeah.
It was not my choice, so I can't claim it.
Right.
We did change the words, so the words are a little bit different.
You'll never strike alone.
Will never walk alone.
Like wheel,
as
opposed to
not a wagon wheel.
Yeah, but wheel.
We will. Yeah,
that's right. Mm-hmm.
So it's a little different.
Yeah, it is.
But it worked out. It ended up. It's kind of a funny coincidence. Matthew Vandegrift's mom, who came to the school quite often after the school opened, it ended up as coincidence that was her favorite song from Carousel.
Really?
Yeah, so we played it for the first time at the dedication of the school, and she just broke down in tears. We thought it was because we were playing it so beautifully.
Come to find out.
It was because it was her favorite song. But that's kind of a cool, that's kind of a neat coincidence.
That is kismet, yeah. We touched on it earlier, but in an earlier episode, Paul Pape talked about the insanity that is the Texas Water Safari.
Yeah.
In case people didn't listen, because maybe people don't like Paul, but they like you. What's the Texas Water Safari?
The Texas Water Safari is the world's toughest canoe race, as advertised.
Correct.
Texas Water Safari is a 264-mile canoe race that goes from San Marcos, the beautiful San Marcos, Texas.
That's right.
To the Gulf of Mexico. And it goes all the way down the San Marcos River, and it hits the Guadalupe River and goes all the way to a little town in the Gulf called Seadrift, Texas.
Yeah. So obviously you and Paul are the captains and co-captains of the boat, but you can have up to 6 people per boat?
You can have up to, the largest boat size is 6. But yeah, we go with 2. So we're in what they call a tandem canoe.
A tandem canoe.
Yeah, we go constant. 56-hour trip down the river for us this year.
Jeez. How many times have you done it in total?
We have finished 4 times.
4 times. Now that's
4. We're 4 for 4.
We're 4 for 4 because
which is a little bit abnormal in this race. I don't want to, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything because it's not unusual to not finish.
Right. That's what I hear. How many times have you won your division or class or whatever?
We have won 1 time.
You are the defending champion.
We are currently the champion. We have a cup at home, a 40-year-old cup.
Oh, and Paul and Jennifer Pape's dad's name's on it, right? Or
Jennifer Pape's dad's name is on it.
Right. So
her uncle, I don't know if her dad's name is on it, but her uncle's name is actually he's the first one that won it. He's the first one on it.
Really?
So that's kind of cool.
Holy smokes! Okay.
I think it's Jim Kiernan.
Oh, now, did you just have the ceremonial exchange of trophy? Because you do it every month, right?
We do. We have a monthly ceremonial exchange. It did happen a couple of weeks ago.
Gotcha.
At the Texican.
The Texican
and we haven't talked any food yet, but it was at the Texican in the Lakeline area.
Do you like Texican?
There are things I really like about the Texican. It's tortillas,
Good.
solid.
Yes.
Carne asada,
Good.
solid.
All right.
And they have a plethora of enchilada choices that are all pretty
They
delicious.
do. And you know, Texican is an El Paso style Tex-Mex.
It's still got it's got a San Antonio flair to it.
It's not whole all in New Mexico Southwestern style. But
if we went all El Paso, it would be too spicy for me if I had too much El Paso.
you know what? Let's do this right now, Mike. Why don't you like Chico's Tacos?
Oh, because of the way you feel right after you eat them.
It is a flauta in a boat of tomato sauce and cheese.
And grease. Floating. It's floating in a boat.
It's the most amazing thing.
I was surprised. You know, I'd heard so much. I'd gone to El Paso for so many years before I actually had it. And I finally did. Horacio Gomez talked me into getting it. Mm-hmm. And I had been warned not to, I think by Jeremy and maybe Steve Smith.
Oh.
And I was surprised. I got what you're supposed to get. It's what's it called?
The single?
No, I got
hot dog.
It's like a double, or I've loaded up.
Oh, Well, I get 2 singles because you get more cheese that way. But people get the double, so you get 6 of them in there.
Whatever it is, I loaded up. You know, I'm all about eating the food of wherever I'm at, and I was pretty shocked when I looked at what was served to me. It's like, and I don't want to offend.
It's okay.
It looked like one of those frozen enchilada dinners heated up with a little bit of extra grease. Well, that's okay. It's each their own.
Hey, man, it's the government cheese. You know,
I have my own vices from the San Antonio Austin area that I think are delicious that I'm sure other people
we'll probably
think are disgusting. But
yeah, so I see. So are there any funny or embarrassing stories you want to tell us about the Texas Water Safari? Maybe as they pertain to Paul Pape or yourself? Specifically, maybe you'll start off with the one that every time you finish it, somebody tells you the wrong directions.
Yeah, so we have a running understanding, at least I thought we did. But when we get to the bay, which is the last 6 to 8 miles of the race, depending on the year, when we get to the bay, that Paul's opinion is officially void. And whatever direction he thinks we should go, it doesn't matter. And, you know, because we had gone through the last couple of years, we would finish at nighttime, which you become very disoriented in the bay. And you have all different colored lights that you're trying to go toward. And Paul would just, he's out of it. He doesn't know what's going on. And he would tell us to go the wrong direction. And I ignored him, and we argued, and and it worked out. So we finally got to this year, and we spent, 53 hours with the understanding of, okay, Paul's saying, when we get to the bay, it's all you. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Whatever way I want to go, you just ignore me and do what you know how to do. Yeah. Of course, we got to the bay, and it was perfectly daylight outside. You could see everything that was going on, and Paul literally wanted to go the opposite direction that we were supposed to going. And if you know Paul, you know he's a slightly stubborn individual, or correct. He can be. So yeah, we went my way, and it worked out.
And you won.
We did. We may have gotten first place.
You did.
Our team captains, also known as our wives, had us convinced early on in the race that we were only 30 minutes ahead of the second place team. 30 hours later, they told us we were an hour ahead.
Really?
And then 40 hours, they told us, you're about an hour and a half ahead, just to keep us pushing along.
Yeah.
We found out at the end we were about 6 or 7 hours ahead of them.
Holy moly!
Yeah,
what?
they may have.
They wanted to go home.
They wanted to go home. It worked.
It worked. Yeah.
I didn't complain about it after.
Yeah, of course. That's insane. Wow. Yeah. Congratulations to you. So after Morton Ranch, you went to James E. Taylor High School, also in Katy ISD.
Yep.
Yeah. So why the move, and what excited you about the jump?
At the time at Morton Ranch, while I had learned a lot, I was getting to the point where I was not sure if being a band director is what I needed to do. There's a lot of things about it that I was not enjoying, and I was having a lot of frustrations. And a good, very close friend of mine, Chris Bailey, was one of the band directors at Taylor. Position opened up, and I kind of jumped at it and just said, I need to go decide if this is what I want to do. And that's really, I spent 2 years at Taylor before I came to Vandegrift. And I would say the thing that happened there is I just learned how to love being a band director. The bands were good, the concert bands were good, and the marching band was good. I mean, it wasn't a cutthroat, crazy, competitive band program, but it was fun. There's a lot of kids in it, and we had it was a lot of fun. It's a little too much fun sometimes with the band staff,
Sure.
at Taylor, but it was a blast, and it was exactly what I needed at that time, which was just affirmation that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
All right. So, as a native Texan, as we know,
Yeah.
I would like your thoughts on the following places: Torchy's Tacos.
They're not really tacos. So I like Torchy's, but I don't like them in the sense that I'm eating real tacos, because everybody knows any good tortilla lover, and I think tortillas are one of the staples of quality Mexican food restaurant or a real taco, knows that Torchy's serves all of the things on rubbery tacos that you could buy at H-E-B, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So it's, Torchy's is to tacos what Chuy's is to Mexican food. It's
Chuy's was going to be my next
really, it's not Mexican food.
Thank you.
With Torchy's, I like it though. It's a staple for us. I get Torchy's on the way home. I will say, tacos or no tacos, I don't think you can argue the quality of the queso at Torchy's. I think it's good.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
I don't go there. I don't go to Chuy's either because
Chuy's,
exactly what you said.
My family likes Chuy's.
Because they like the creamy jalapeno dip?
They do.
Of course.
I can't tell you I don't like the creamy jalapeno
White
dip. It's
people,
pretty
am
solid.
I right? Come on.
But it's Chuy's, it's not... People from Austin, and you're from Austin, so don't take offense. They think that Chuy's is Mexican food. And
I do not.
It's very clearly not Mexican
How dare
food.
you lump me into that, sir?
You have to go into it knowing that that's not what you're getting.
Well, yeah, like you're going to Taco Bell, you're just like
Right.
2:30 in the morning. And
So as long as you're not comparing it against a real Mexican food restaurant, I think you're doing okay.
all right, that's a good explanation. Taco Cabana.
Love it.
Yeah. The tortillas are pretty good.
They're great. I have very proudly had many visits to the original Taco Cabana on San Pedro and Hildebrand there in San Antonio, Texas.
That's right. Yeah.
For the longest time, I don't know if it still is. There's still outdoor seating instead of a picnic table.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to check it out. We'll do it since you're not doing anything for TMEA. this
Let's
year.
go. Taco Cabana.
The Whataburger.
It's fine. It's good. I think that Whataburger, what a burger, as we Whataburger. I would love to go to Whataburger as not a native Texan. Maybe I'd appreciate it more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like I remember going to In-N-Out in California for the first time before there was In-N-Out everywhere.
Yeah,
there's this cool thing about it being In-N-Out and
Right,
made it taste delicious.
Yeah.
I think it's probably similar.
Sure.
I'm holding out. Whataburger was sold not too long ago.
That's right.
It seems like it's still going okay, but it's solid. It's certainly better than McDonald's or
Correct.
Burger King. Or
Yeah.
something
Burger.
like that.
Yeah. What about Mighty Fine Burgers?
Great. Love it.
Right. P.
Yeah.
Terry's Burgers?
I
like P. Terry's.
I think the burger's fine. The shake is disappointing.
I don't drink shakes. So
Don't. That's good. That's why you like it there.
Thank you.
I try not to drink shakes too often anymore, but yeah, P. Terry's is fine.
Yeah. I'll allow it. Rudy's Barbecue.
It is. It's good. We go there every Friday. The Vandegrift band staff goes every Friday.
Yes. That's. I went there with. Did I go with you? I know I went with Jeremy.
You may have.
And this was a long. I mean, it just means y'all been going forever.
Yeah, we don't do it all year, but it's like a marching season tradition. What we do on game day, we go down there. But it's good. It is good. It's the best barbecue you'll ever find in a gas station. I'm convinced of it.
That's good. What about Salt Lake Barbecue? Ooh, hot take here.
Hot take. I'm going on the record to say the Salt Lake Barbecue is bad. I think the original Salt Lake experience is pretty cool, driving down to Driftwood, especially in the old days when it was cash only.
Yeah, right.
There was no menu. You just paid the whatever $14 at the door, and you're a college kid, so they're just loading you up with as much meat and food as you can eat. It was amazing. We loved it.
Yep.
Me and Roland and Chris and Brandon would go down there every once in a while, but man, it's just not very good.
It's corporate. It's too corporate now.
It is. Yeah. There's too many other great barbecue places in town.
Yeah. I agree. Franklin's Barbecue.
Excellent. The beef rib on Saturday. It's worth the wait. They only have the beef rib once a week.
I've never done that one.
It's if you have the burnt in that they give you when you're waiting in line. That's the beef rib, but it's like it all tastes like that. They only sell them on Saturdays, and you pretty much, I think if you're in line, let's see, down the ramp, about to where they have the free chairs, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think if you're in line to there, you'll probably be able to get one. If you're any further back, you're not getting a beef rib.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Plucker's wings.
I think it depends on the Pluckers.
Lakeline.
Overrated.
Burn it.
Better. Quite a bit better.
Campus.
Haven't been there in a long time.
Round Rock.
I haven't been to the one in Round
San
Rock.
Marcos.
Pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, last time I had them once in the summer,
Yeah, basically.
The one at Lakeline, we used to go a lot.
Yeah, all you band directors were
yes, and it's kind of gone downhill, in my opinion. Overcooked the wings. The wings are overcooked.
That's just a mess. So what would you say is the most overrated thing about Austin or the Austin area, Michael?
Oh, I don't want to offend.
You won't offend me.
And I have to go with the bats. I got to go with the bats. And I know my beautiful wife, Amber, is going to listen to this, and she might be disappointed in me to say that. We went to see the bats.
Howard, how dare you talk about the bats?
We went to see the bats, and I'd never seen them the whole time we've been in the greater Austin area.
Thank you for that.
For the last 11 years. So we finally went to see the bats this last summer.
Oh,
and it didn't do it for me at all.
Sure.
It's a few.
What
bats.
about your kids? Would they like the bats?
Oh. My son, yes.
Because he's a youngin.
Yes, he loved the bats and loved the fact that we were at a bridge next to water. And
yeah,
my daughter was over it. She wasn't having it.
Was she on her phone?
We were divided. She may have been on her phone.
Tweeting how, my parents are taking me to see the bats.
Probably so.
LOL.
It's Instagramming about it.
Face.
Something like that. Doing a TikTok
Yes,
video.
Exactly.
About the bats.
Who is it? Jennifer Pape said that your daughter taught her to do a TikTok
she
dance
did.
or something.
They have a very funny relationship.
Really?
Anytime my daughter and Jen Pape get together, they are two peas in a pod.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I won't call it strange. I mean,
No, I mean, but
it's just funny. They all of a sudden you don't hear from either of them for an hour. Like, where's Madison and Jen? And they're off making TikTok videos.
Making TikToks. That's incredible. Was there an underrated thing about Austin or the Austin area?
Underrated thing about Austin, I would say no. Nobody should ever move here.
Agreed.
Just stay away
Please.
and find the underrated things about Houston, or
there's
heaven
plenty of
forbid
things.
Dallas. I don't know. I think
I really don't like Dallas.
I think I'm gonna give a hot take to you.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
I think some of the activities and food to eat in the greater Austin area, the Leander, Cedar Park,
if you will,
area, Pflugerville, Round Rock.
I will.
I think it's a little underrated. I think there's a lot of good places to find where you don't have to brave the traffic.
Yep.
You know what I'll say is underrated about Austin is the train.
Yeah, and there's one right here.
And we haven't taken the train a bunch, but we did a trip on the train. We drove to the Lakeline station and took the train downtown with the whole family and hung out for the day and came back. We need more trains.
We do.
Like, come on.
Yeah, well, you would think people would do that. It's public transportation. Let's go.
People like me that want to, brave their way from the burbs into the real Austin area.
Yes, thank you.
I'd be down. I think we need more public transportation. I think the stuff we have works, and
we need something to the airport.
Yes. Oh, for the love of God.
Gosh, our traffic's horrible. Please stop moving here. All right.
That's what it's funny. We were just recently in Las Vegas.
Yes, I saw the pictures on Facebook.
We met a couple of people that talked about how much they loved Austin. And Amber, very politely, said, but please never move there. It was almost a little awkward. She told a couple of our Uber drivers, stay away.
Please stay away. Yes, I love how good marching bands got, but please, all you visual designers, stop moving to Austin. We've run out of room. Don't move here.
Whatever. Unless they want a discount,
Well, it's not the land of milk and honey. There's too much traffic. Everything's too expensive, and you're going to get paid nothing. So
that's true.
So go to Dallas.
That's true,
as Mike says. You are drinking one, so I'd like to know your thoughts on sparkling water, specifically Topo Chico.
I will say that the Vandegrift band staff is fueled on Topo Chico through the entire marching season.
Nice.
And our parents hauled, I want to say 20 cases of Topo Chico to Indianapolis in the truck, so that the full staff would have a fully stocked at all times ice chest full of Topo Chico.
You know, what's interesting is Jason says Rouse is fueled by Topo also, Jason Robb. So is Topo Chico the secret to LISD success?
It might be. I will tell you, though, the band's gotten better and better since they put the little squeeze bottle of natural lime juice in there for us. A little squeeze of lime.
Yes,
But yeah, I like Topo Chico. Truth be told, we drink the HEB brand sparkling water at my house.
Sure.
But we are fortunate to usually have a parent that keeps our refrigerator at Vandegrift, stocked with Topo Chico.
Right.
Much of the time.
It
works out.
Yeah,
it works out for us. I like it. I think it's great. I do like the lime in the original. Grapefruit's just okay for me.
Yeah, I don't like grapefruit, so I don't drink it.
But yeah, I think people that don't like it are missing out.
I agree. Don't move here. You can get Topo Chico at other places. So, Mike, what are some things that kids coming out of college that want your life, your job, your success, what do they need to know?
I think they need to know. I think a lot of students coming out of college spend more time trying to find a great band to be a part of rather than to find the right fit. Meaning that if you look at the people that have done really great things, some of the people you talked about, Greg Dick of the world, and and Jeremy and Steve Wessels, all these guys that are just fantastic. They didn't go somewhere that was great. They went somewhere and made it great. Paul at Georgetown, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think go somewhere where you can find the right place that's got the right head director you want to learn from, good administration support and that kind of thing, rather than just hunting around for the latest, greatest school districts. Because the latest, greatest school districts, as much as I hope they will be, they won't be the latest, greatest school districts in 10 years.
Yeah.
That's how it usually works. They need to go somewhere that works for them and try and make something good.
Yeah, I hear you. So for the folks listening to us at home, in their cars, in their bathtubs, in the subway, walking their dogs, at the gym, typing up invoices, waiting for results at a marching band contest, or guarding a bathroom during standardized testing, please describe in excruciating detail what shoes you're currently wearing.
I'm wearing black. That's not as true. I'm wearing Adidas Ultra Boost 19.
That is correct. You are. Mm-hmm.
That are black on black with white soles.
Yes, we'll go with that. Midsoles, yeah.
It's my second pair of Ultra Boosts.
What was the first? Do you remember what the first looked like?
I actually have them. You'll be proud of me. I have two pairs.
What? All right, here we go.
Of Adidas Ultra Boosts that are both in pretty similar condition. I bought them right before Grand Nationals because I shrunk a pair of Nikes. I had a pair of Epic Reacts.
Yes. Yeah, with the Flyknit. Yep.
That I liked a lot. And I washed them and they got thrown in the dryer.
Bad move, Amber.
Bad move.
Is it Amber?
let's not pass any blame right now.
Because you're probably currently
in
the car together, and she has now looked at you with an evil eye. She goes, Michael J. Howard.
They literally do not fit. They would not fit on my feet. They shrunk down 2 sizes. I couldn't even get the insert in them. God. So right before Grand Nationals, I went and bought a pair of Ultra Boosts. Joe Hobbs picked them out for me. We went to the mall, and they're white, and they have like neon green, yellow. I'm colorblind, so I don't remember.
I remember what they look like.
With kind of black on them.
Yep.
Kids loved them. I wore them to rehearsal right before Grand Nationals, and I think they were more excited about the fact that I had a new pair of shoes.
See the power of shoes, Mike?
Well, I'm starting to.
Yes.
I'm starting to. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I mean, what was your bonus for winning Grand Nats? I mean, come on. Let's just put it on the table here. How much more money are you making because you won Grand National?
Man, I've got a lot of fist bumps and high fives on that one. I'm still holding out for Leander I.S.D, but we're gonna wait and see on that one.
Got to get that coach's contract going.
Yeah, so I have 2 pairs of Ultra Boosts.
That's amazing.
Now.
So you're wearing Ultra Boosts.
They're like slippers. I love them.
Aren't they great?
Yeah, they're awesome. I think they're unnecessarily expensive.
Yeah, well,
but these were a gift from my mother-in-law. the current ones I have on, but yeah, they're solid. It's good.
I dig them. Good for you. Good
and I'm wearing black socks instead of white.
Thank you.
I'm working on it.
You're the man in black. You're the man in black. I will give you some credit. Years ago, it had to have been at least 5 or 6. You showed up to Sassy wearing the brightest, most highlighter color shoes.
Yeah.
And I loved them, and I have taken that mantle, and I like bright colored shoes. So shout out to you, Mike, for inspiring.
Those were not, that's you paid me back with the Masters and Machines. You know what I'm saying? The honor band win. You paid me back with the honor band win. I'll take it.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right, you're welcome. So in 2009, as you mentioned, you helped open Vandegrift High School with your BFF for life, Jeremy Spicer. Yep. Late in the summer of 2014, you took over as director of bands. While the move isn't uncommon, the timing was not exactly ideal. What was that experience like for you, your staff, your program?
It was 2 weeks before band started. Yeah.
Band camp, right?
Band camp. Yeah. 2 weeks before band camp. So it was, we would call that not the best time.
And were you in an ideal location to hear this news?
I was in New London. I was in Plainfield, Connecticut.
Correct.
At the time, hanging out at my brother's house. And I was going to be there for the next 5 days. I think. Yeah, I stayed there. I did all the business from up there in New London, or in Plainfield, Connecticut, out near the New London.
Yeah.
I talked to Tom Shine about whether I should take that job or not, standing in my brother's driveway in Connecticut. But yeah, it was tough. It was a tough time. It ended up being a blessing in disguise. I remember I actually left Connecticut and went to St. Louis to do a leadership camp before I came back to Austin, which was going to be like 4 or 5 days before camp started. And I was really over. I was frustrated. I was sitting in line at Starbucks, and I was still contemplating whether or not to do it, or I was just frustrated. And I ordered a full breakfast at Starbucks, which you should never do because it's unreasonably expensive. And I got to the window, and it's whatever, $14 breakfast for egg white frittata and a tea. I don't remember.
Right.
And the lady had paid for it in front of me. Some lady from St. Louis. She had paid for my food, and she had written on the receipt, "Everything is a gift from above." And again, it was one of those things. It was kind of an aha moment. That and the fact that Tom Shine told me I was stupid if I didn't take that job.
Yeah, kind of.
But I actually have that receipt framed in my office.
Really?
Yeah, it's on my filing cabinet. But it was tough, man. It was a tough transition. It had to happen fast, and the guys I was working with Stephanie and Paul. They stuck it out and stuck with me, and it was a tumultuous season. It was tough.
And what show was that? Do you remember?
That was The Joy of Life. Was that show? Copeland.
What's really interesting about that show is, didn't you have a different, that year was a really weird year for Vandegrift, because a lot of people don't know this, and I don't care if this is not supposed to be public knowledge. Y'all had an entirely different show picked out, and written, a great deal of it had already been written. It was supposed to be about a maze and
some witches involved.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I think Round Rock ended up doing that same show later on, but that's not the point. And then you had an unfortunate situation at Vandegrift High School with some...
we had a student, actually right after we won the state marching contest that next break, a student and his mom, who's a kindergarten teacher, Cale Howard, and his mom were in a drunk driving accident. They were hit by a drunk driver, and they both passed away.
And as I understand it, Jeremy, you had a show. Jeremy had a dream about them?
Yeah, well, then we kept going with it. And I think that part of it is the inspiration for completing the show just went away. And Jeremy wasn't passionate about the show staying in that direction, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we couldn't figure out what else to do. We already had 2/3 of it arranged, and they were cool too. JD had done a great job, but yeah, it was a left turn. We switched, and it was late.
It was, and that ballad was going to be Jar of Hearts, right?
It was going to be Jar of Hearts.
Yeah. What was the opener?
Correct.
Do you remember?
It was a Bram Stoker's it started with this the opening from Bram Stoker,
which is
really
great.
cool.
Oh my God, I love that music.
I think it's a Bartok string quartet.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Right. Yep. But it was cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Jeremy was excited about it, and then you hear the show change. So not only did you change the show late, but then you took over as director of bands late, right?
Took over as director's band. That's when I bought those shoes.
Those bright shoes?
Those bright shoes. We had all these bright yellows in the show, so I was like,
That's right.
I'm going to buy some bright yellow shoes
That's
or whatever
right.
color they were.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was tough. It was a tough transition. I honestly, at the time, was very comfortable in the position I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have I love to teach and I love kids, and I didn't have a lot of desire to be a head band director yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I learned on the fly and it worked out.
Yeah, yeah. So now for some questions submitted by the nerds at texasbands.com.
Okay.
They're all very serious, okay? How scared were you when you almost dropped Kevin?
Oh, they saw that, huh?
Well, you put the video online.
My life may have flashed before my eyes. Now I told myself after the fact, surely that eagle's not 40 years old. Somebody's broken it at some point.
Correct. I'm sure of it.
But there's got to be something bad happens to you, right? If
It's like the spirit stick. If it touches the ground,
it was, well, and it's
cursed.
weird. They there's a lot of things about that weekend we just didn't know. I mean, all the way to the end, as we had never been there, everything's over and that encore performance happened. Everything was down and the trophy's there. And we say, what do we do with it? They said, and we called. They left. They just left the trophy. They left the case. They left the trophy. And they said, well, just put it in the case and take it home.
yeah. Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay. So we almost dropped it twice when we were putting it in the case.
Oh.
Because everybody's jittery.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then when we pulled it out in Austin, that was a little dicey. It's heavy.
Yeah, that thing.
It is
wild.
heavy. We're a lot more careful with it right now.
Good,
So don't worry.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoever might get it next year,
Well,
maybe it'll be a Texas school.
It might go down to San Antonio.
It might,
My
I'd
money
love to
would-
see it take the trip down 35.
I love
San Antonio.
I would, yeah. I mean, Reagan's basically won 2 Grand National titles already. They just didn't give it to us. So,
Yeah.
who fed Kevin over the winter break?
Who fed Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin was dormant.
Was he malting? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he was hibernating in the Vandegrift Band Hall.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Keep it
he had he saw a lot of action during the time immediately following Grand
I
Nationals.
can only imagine.
He traveled to the middle schools, was part of a big ceremony.
A medal ceremony.
He needed a break.
Yeah.
He needed a break. So he may be sitting outside my office window.
Surrounded by all the
No.
other trophies you've won.
Well, it's not called surrounded,
Right. Well, okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah, they're around. It's like the Joker when he put all those knives around him on Suicide Squad. How do you get such perfect timing from kids that are 60 plus yards apart from each other?
lots of saying left, right, kids. Here we go. No, they are spread. Jeff writes wide intervals and we are spread all over the field. So timing in terms of feet and timing in terms of musical timing is a huge challenge. The kids on the field, if you're ever down with them, it's pretty unbelievable how chaotic and ridiculous it sounds back there. All the kids have a very specific timing responsibility, whether it's listening or watching or whatever, and they absolutely just don't listen to anything else that's going on. So down on the field, it just sounds like a ridiculous mess. If you're out on the 5 or 10. Or
Sure, yeah. That's where I was sitting for the encore. And already it was pretty loud because they were crazy, but then, all the normal stuff. So.
But yeah, that's a big part of... That's one of the big challenges with the band is it's gotten bigger. It's a timing, I won't say nightmare, but it's a timing task. It's a challenge
for sure
to get it actually clean. Yeah. I think JD and Jeff, they do a great job, and Andrew do a great job writing everything to where it's conducive to good timing, but you still got to, do it up 80 yards apart.
Yeah, yeah. What led to Vandegrift's big jump in 2016?
Ooh. Big jump in 2016. I honestly think, I think the show was well designed. It was different for us.
Right.
I wanted to call it, I took a risk and called it On Point. Some of the staff members didn't want to call it that because they thought it might be pretentious. And I thought maybe it'll force us to do a good job. I don't know. I actually think the 2015 band is one of the reasons that the 2016 band was started to bump up. The 2015 band was almost 50% freshmen. It was we had a big bump, not just because of the quality of the band, but just the size of the school. We were starting to feel these big influxes of large classes. So the band there for a second got really young. And that band, if you were to watch it at BOA Austin and then see it at the state marching contest, the amount of travel that they did, and we did like a 4-minute closer that was it was Mars. We marsed everybody to death for 4 minutes, but man, they marched a ton of drill. It was challenging, and I think it really, just like I think 2012 set the band up for 2013, I think 2015 set the group up for 2016. Because we stayed in our wheelhouse in terms of programming. I think JD, the show was better paced, but I think a lot of good things. I think like we did this year, I think in 2016, we really utilized our dancers as dancers. I think it worked. That was one of our big goals this year, is to do something different from what everybody else was doing.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I would call it that.
So you're in the middle of this because this is a very special year for y'all. But how do you keep your kids focused when accolades are constantly raining down on them?
Well, man, I think part of it is in the thick of things. We don't really talk about accolades that much. I talk to kids a lot that all the extra stuff is symptomatic of something different that's happening. And I just honestly, I think the way to keep everybody grounded is to keep the standard extremely high. We finished Grand Nationals and we went back to work. I gave the kids some time off, and we're back to work. Let's go. Let's move on to our next project, which is going to be developing hopefully elite sounding concert bands.
Hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Last question: can Texas bands be exempted from your closed rehearsal policy?
Can Texas?
TexasBands.com.
Oh, we're talking about Grand Nationals.
They were texting me. He goes, "Hey, text Howard to see if we can go." I was like, "I'm not doing that." You crazy?
They should have. They could have come in. Oh. No, we. That's funny. We were actually. It was advice that I got from Brent and Jana to close the rehearsals, so that we could be. We wanted that time to be our time, and we wanted to try and keep everything focused and keep everything driving. And we have a lot of parents up there, a lot. Yeah. I think we had, they sold our block, not the chaperone block, but just the block of parents that traveled. I think that block was about 300, 350.
Yeah.
So with those exhibit halls being as tight as they were, had it been a free for all, I would have ended up with a sideline of people.
Correct.
So I kind of took Brent's advice and closed it down, but they just need to send me a text.
Oh, snap.
Like, shoot me a text, say, hey, or somebody that's around the group. We'd love to have Texas bands.
Wow.
I love what those guys do. I think those guys in flow marching, they don't see it from the kids' side like we see it as directors. They just make the kids feel like what they're doing is cool and important. And, I don't know about the forums. We don't we try to stay off the forums, but the kids love it. They love all that stuff. But tell them to give me a text. They can come to Vandegrift High School rehearsal anytime they want.
Wow. You heard it here first.
Come on, let's go.
So there seems to be an influx of teachers leaving education. Some stay in the biz, some arrange, clinic, judge, program, etc., but some leave the field entirely. You are happily married and have 2 kids. How do you balance your home life with running one of the most visible and successful programs in the nation?
I think it's just you prioritize home life, So I have the Vandegrift Band and I have Amber, Madison, and Justin, and those are my 2 things. And right now, we're only gonna have Madison and Justin in the house for so long. So those are the 2 things I do. Amber and I will hit a point where we're older and the kids move out, and we'll go hang out with friends and we'll do other things, and maybe we'll get to venture into the beautiful city of Austin that I work in. I do work in Austin.
Yes, That I'm very. You brought the Eagle to Austin, Texas.
It is in Austin. It has not traveled to any other suburban city of Austin.
It has not? Because what's the other school that feeds Vandegrift besides 4 Points?
Canyon Ridge and 4 Points are both in
Austin proper?
Yeah, that's correct.
You know what, Mike? This is the best episode we've ever
So I don't know. I mean, I guess it traveled on a truck, would have driven
okay.
through.
It's
Yeah.
okay. He wasn't out of the case.
But it's only seen the light of the day in Austin, Texas.
The Vienna of North America. Yes.
No, I think it's just making the choice to prioritize the right things. I think it's making a choice not to take it too seriously. Amber and I plug a clinic. Amber and I are actually going to be doing a clinic at TBA.
Oh, wow.
About just about work and about balancing band directing in life. And if anybody is interested in checking that out, I don't know if what we have to say will be good or matters, but we can at least give our perspective on how to make it work. I do think, though, in the age of Twitter and Instagram and all, I don't think band directors leaving the profession is something new.
Sure, yeah.
I think, talking to some of the older guys, I think it's something that a lot of us in our 30s or maybe 40s start to see. That's the time when these guys make the call, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. Right. But I do think, I did appreciate what Paul said, which is, the place to decide or the place to complain about it, like, get off the internet. We've got young teachers that are excited about it, and it makes them nervous. I'm sure. The stuff that they see online from some of the directors. It is, you know what you're in for, you know what you're going to get. And if you do choose to have a family and kids, then you just have to commit to it. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate to have a wife who, at any point is always, she's part of the program, and she's made her and the kids part of the Vandegrift band program. They're there and they're around, and they're down there for retreat. BOA even got them on the field for retreat so that they could be down there with us. But, I think it's just staying grounded in something else besides band. For me, it's family. Yeah. And maybe for somebody it's golf or it's fishing. It will be fishing for me at some point.
Right.
When I get older, that can help remind them what to do. I think there's as many people that are staying in the profession that are great and are well grounded as there are leaving. But unfortunately, those people aren't on Facebook, right? Talking about how great things are, because they're just not.
Correct. Yeah. Now, Michael, what year did you march the Madison Explorer Scouts?
I marched in 2000.
Oh my God.
2001.
Wow.
And 2002.
You marched 3 years.
And then I taught in 2003. I was the bass tech.
Right.
In 2003, which is a big changeover.
Because something happened, right?
Yeah. I mean, Scott Stewart, who I should have listed Scott in my people, my big influences, but Scott was removed as core director, and there was all sorts of changes, big design changes, right, lots of changes. In some way, a lot for the better. I mean, the years I marched in the core went from 6th to 14th, right. So I aged out in Madison at semifinals.
And then watching the Madison Alumni Corps, right? And
it was rough,
the exhibition.
Man. It was rough.
It's awful.
At Camp Randall.
Yeah.
The last time it was at Madison. And that was the first year the Madison Scouts had not made the finals. I learned a lot that summer.
I bet.
We went to the West Coast that summer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I learned a lot about things to do and not to do.
Sure.
But yeah, I marched those years. I don't think I would have changed my experience. I think a lot about should I moved that third year and gone somewhere else and done something else. Obviously, the Cavaliers, were the deal at the time.
You could have marched with my brother.
I could have marched with my brother or your brother.
Your brother too, yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I stuck it out. I had a great time teaching in 2003. It was a blast. That was
the green, red, and gold.
Red, green, and gold. Yeah, all the Cirque music.
Yeah,
and the big uniform change.
Yes,
that was a big deal. You talk about some upset alumni.
Madison Scouts alumni getting upset.
Yeah, it's just they need to get over themselves.
First thing I've heard of. Now, before we get into that particular thing, actually, your dog, or did your dog is named Scout?
My dog is named Scout. He's alive and well.
How old's your dog?
He is, we've had him for 8 years.
Okay.
But I think he's like 9.5.
Oh, okay, sure. And name for the Madison Scouts?
He is, he is not named after the character in, what is it?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird, yeah.
Madison, is she named after Madison Scouts?
I would not say that I would name my daughter after a drum corps. I will say that it's a beautiful name for a girl.
Yeah, I agree.
My wife and I both very quickly agreed on at the time. We thought at the time that was a really original name.
Yeah.
What we didn't know is it was a very popular name for that year. You don't realize until your child's in elementary school,
And
and all of a sudden there's Madisons everywhere that were born 5 years ago.
Yeah.
No, it's just it was a nice coincidence that it was the same.
I see.
But yeah, it worked out. It's good.
Okay, I just figured you loved that drum corps so much that you did Madison and Scout.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say on the record that we named our daughter after drum corps.
She's not listening to this anyway. So speaking of Mad alumni, what is your reaction to the Scouts going gender inclusive?
I think it's overdue. Honestly, I've told you this. It's 2020.
That's why I asked.
I mean, come on. I think you look at the history of drum corps, and there are plenty of all-male drum corps when drum corps became drum corps. Mm-hmm. Most of them had females in them a long time ago. I think it's smart on the organization's part, and I'm, aside from just obviously it gives you more performance options, gives you way better recruiting in the color guard world, and it gives you a much bigger influx, I would imagine, of auditionees. And aside from that, I just think it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
I'm sure there's alumni it's ridiculous.
I imagine you stay off of the alumni forums and
I don't get on the alumni. I'll venture onto them during the summer a little bit. I've got buddies of mine that'll text me when something really funny gets on there. But yeah, it just seems I'm ready for the Cavaliers to do the same.
Sure.
I hope, my hope is that Madison has an amazing year, obviously. And I hope the change, if it hasn't already, starts to apply a little bit of pressure for that organization to do the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But
all right, I'm going to put you the gun to your head here.
All right, let's go.
In your honest opinion, how excited, nervous, thrilled, anxious, terrified, etc. are you about Jason, Rob, and I designing for the Scouts of Madison, Wisconsin?
How excited, nervous, thrilled?
Anxious, terrified, whatever. We'll pick whatever adjective you want.
There's always anxiousness. I'm excited for both of you.
That's nice.
I'll say it's weird. It's like you were talking about before. We all knew each other. I knew Jason Robb when I think he was a 15-year-old when I was aging out of the Madison Scouts. And you and I were doing God knows what in the, behind the wind ensemble at Texas State.
Yeah.
I'm sure we weren't paying attention, whatever it is we were doing. Getting kicked out of music history. I mean, that might have been with Paul. I don't know.
Probably think it was with what?
But it's exciting. It's just weird.
Sure.
Because you expect to see these older people, and then you start to realize that we're the older people.
I think we are.
It's kind of like the thing what you were talking about with a Grand Nationals and Honor Band and all that. It's just, we all know each other. So I was really excited for the team. I'm nervous for the team because I want it to go really well.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm alumni. Now I have
before,
when I was alumni, I could watch the first couple of shows and get frustrated and be like, okay, well,
right.
Better luck next year.
Sure.
But now I have a whole vested interest with having good friends and colleagues that I care about.
Right.
That are carrying this product, and
yeah,
I just want it to go well. So there's some anxiousness involved.
Sure.
It's impressive though. I mean, it's got to be exciting for you.
It's exciting.
I would imagine. I mean, but yeah, I wouldn't say terrified. Terrified's not
Sure.
the word to use at all.
I'm sure some are.
If I were writing it like you are, I would be terrified.
Oh yeah, well, terrified.
I don't have to be terrified. I get to sit on my couch and watch it.
Well, the good thing is Madison is not. I don't know if it's a spoiler. We're not on the movie theater broadcast right off the bat, and I know that as sassy people, we get to watch all the drum corps on the movie theater.
I do expect. It is my expectation that I get some insider videos. Since I know the program coordinator and the music arranger so
correct.
well.
You do. And don't you hire Josh Wendt to do body at Vandegrift?
Yeah, Josh is great.
So you have 3 Madison people at your disposal.
So come on, let's
go.
All
right. Well, don't tell anybody, but
insider. I don't share on social media much.
That's true. You really don't.
So my wife does.
Oh, well, I will not send her anything.
But yeah, you don't have to worry about it getting leaked with me.
That's right. Do you even have Instagram or Twitter?
I have Facebook.
That's about it. Yeah.
I had a MySpace page at one point.
Oh my God.
That's take it back.
So,
yeah.
Mike, as we wrap up, what would you say is your life's motto?
Ooh, my life's motto. I would say, I tell it to my students all the time. So if any of them actually were to ever listen to this, they'll probably turn it off at this point.
Oh, okay.
I would say to have a vision for the kind of person you are and let it drive all your decisions. I try and do that. That's my goal with the Vandegrift Band. We don't try and drive our decisions based in competition or other things like that. We try and drive it what's best for the kids. I try my hardest. I fail sometimes, but I try my hardest to do the same. Here's the kind of person I want to be, and let that drive the decisions rather than some sort of exterior influence. So I would say that would probably be the thing.
That's solid. That's solid. What advice would you offer to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, drink more water. Don't go to Commons, dining hall less, and drink more water.
Drink more water.
Yeah,
that's solid. It
would have been a good thing. And I wish I would have known ahead of time when I was going to meet my wife.
You would have.
I could have made better decisions.
Oh,
yeah. I was not the most impressive individual necessarily. That
you had frosted tips and an earring, didn't you?
2 earrings.
Two earrings. That's right. That's right.
Dude, that was the thing. I got my ears pierced at Grapevine Mall with Paul and Ryan Cerna.
Ryan Grapevine Cerna, yes.
At Things Remembered. No. Yeah.
That sounds...
No. Claire's Boutique.
Claire's Boutique. That's much...
Claire's Boutique.
Oh, my God. Was it like a pagoda stand, or was it actual like...
No, it was in the store. I was in there with all the, the teeny boppers.
The teeny...
Getting my ear pierced by probably some 18-year-old Claire's Boutique worker.
Now, in your infamous Madison Scouts bass drum Yamaha ad, can you see your earrings and your frosted tips? Or
one of the earrings is present, I believe. I'd like to highlight the very, very late 90s wire rim sunglasses.
Yeah,
really.
I remember those.
But I think the frosted tips are visible. They were not frosted. I might have used a little sun in here and there.
Is that what it was?
It was a thing.
It was the 90s. It was the late 90s, early 2000s. So do you still have that photo, that poster?
It recently surfaced, actually.
Amber got it framed.
Amber has it. Amber has the magazine that it's in, the full page ad. But just recently, Jim Yakis sent me a text out of the blue. He was in a band hall somewhere, and he sent me a picture text from that Rudiment poster that it was on, if you remember.
Yes.
To me and Josh Jennings. I don't know if you know
Josh Jennings, pit guy, yeah.
But I hadn't seen it in a while. It had been a long time, and I was I don't know if I was as cool as I thought I was.
We were really cool.
I'm sure I looked cool at the time.
Yeah, let's be real.
In the context of the year 2000.
That's
right.
That dated you right there.
Yeah,
so let's put a call. If somebody has that poster, please send it to the Vandegrift Band Hall.
Yeah,
and we'll get that framed and hung up and place it behind Kevin, the Grand National Trophy.
Kevin, and that was in Cam Randall Stadium. They took those pictures.
Wow, the year you didn't make finals.
No, it was 2001.
Oh, okay. So
it was we still made finals that year. We got to rehearse in Camp Randall every year. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yamaha came in, they took pictures, and there it was.
How many wood blocks did you have on your bass drum?
It was just the one that year. The one. That's how you make rim clicks clean, is you do them on jam blocks. For some reason.
But I don't know if we're bringing jam blocks back, but I would be all for it.
I will have to tell you again, hot take from the Mad Bass Facebook page. Don't get upset with me, but
Mad Bass, here we go.
Mad Bass Facebook page. I think the jam blocks is a terrible idea. I think you should avoid it at all costs.
So no jam blocks, but yes to yellow toms with a radioactive symbol spray painted on.
Oh yeah. The yellow toms in the show, like they had in '93, is definitely the way to go. I'm going to be disappointed if you don't go there.
That's instant general effect there. So,
yes.
Hey, so what's next for Mike Howard? What's going on, man? What do you got going on?
Work, school, what?
Sure.
We are, we're planning on in terms of personally, we're planning on doing a big hike.
Oh,
we're gonna do a big hike.
You're gonna do
summer.
that thing with.
We're going to the Alps,
and that's the Joe Hobbs, Jim Casella thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the Howards and the Hobbses.
Oh,
right now, tentatively, it's not fully booked yet. We're about to pull the trigger on it to do a 7-day hike.
Holy smokes!
On Mont Blanc, which is in the Alps.
Mont Blanc, yes.
Mont Blanc, right?
That's right. The pins.
I'll learn the language before I get there. It's fine. Doing that, we and Paul, I think we're ready to take the water safari around again. And
round 5.
Round 5, yeah. And the band's going to start working on music. I think I made the decision we're going to submit a Midwest recording this year. We've not done one yet.
The hottest of takes. This is breaking news. Oh my God. So basically everyone pencil in your Friday night concert.
No. That Midwest thing is a crapshoot. You just never know. But we're going to take a real stab at it and try and make a great recording. And
hey, did you hear about the new recommendations by Midwest?
You know what? It's funny. A guy I know told me about it. I think it's fantastic.
I'm on the fence. This is why. Okay. I thought a lot about it as a Hispanic composer, right? So I'm considered underrepresented as a minority. I think that this makes certain band directors, not all of them, go, okay, we got one piece, and it's got to be a woman or a person of color, lesbian, gay, etc., and that's the piece. And then they'll feel comfortable doing 6 other pieces by your normal white men. I'm not saying that's the case, but all of a sudden you've opened up the door for it, but go, all right, everyone's got to fit in this room though, and then the rest of the house is still open. I know that's an oversimplification of it. I'm very appreciative that they're opening up these opportunities and saying, hey, look at these other people. I hope people don't just go, I've got my one. I hope that that's an opportunity for them to go, oh my God, I never knew about Omar Thomas. I never knew about Jay Coles. I never knew about Daniel Montoya Jr. And then they put 3 of quote unquote us onto a program and not just limit it to the one.
Well, I will tell you, and I see totally where you're coming from, but I'll tell you with the Omar Thomas piece that we're doing now, one of the things at Midwest, you talking to me about that got me thinking a lot about it. What is one of the reasons I picked that piece?
Wait, is this another piece that I suggested that you're playing, Mike?
It is.
Wow. I've only listened to me about my pieces.
That's something not only that music education needs, but like I want to make sure we're representing adversity and composition and artistry at my school. Yeah. I'm probably going to record that piece, and it's probably not the standard thing you're supposed to record for a Midwest recording, but I think it's music that needs to be promoted. And I know if I play that piece and then I have to get it approved, and I know if I have to get it approved, then it will probably maybe in a year or so end up on the PML, and then it spirals, it rolls downhill from there. But aside from the fact that I think it's a fantastic piece,
for sure,
it's a type of music that we just haven't played. We haven't played anything in that vein since we did J-Tail Ball by Grantham a few years ago. But I could see where you're coming from. I think it's a good step. I think it's not finished, but I think it's a good step. I do agree some people will just, it's like their grade 1. Oh, okay, well, there's my grade 1.
Yeah, they're going to go like, oh, Julie Giroux. There we go. Check mark. Or, Carol Chambers. We'll pick her grade 1 piece.
Yeah, but then you take a piece like, what's a piece that gets a lot of play right now? Like Rippling Watercolors, like a grade 2 or whatever. But
I don't know why you laughed.
Nothing. That piece might not have gotten the same exposure had it not had to have been played on that concert.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I don't remember what concert it was.
Sure. Yeah.
The march that I just played a gallop with a region band by Willie Owens. It was like Dan's grade 1 or 2 that he did.
Yeah.
So at least it provides the exposure.
Correct. Yeah, I hear you. Wow, that's exciting. You mentioned your TBA clinic, but is there anything else you want to plug, or do you want to plug the clinic again, or whatever?
Doing a podcast. Guess it's a podcast.
You're doing one right now.
Well, yeah, doing a podcast with Tim Hinton at the end of this month.
The Marching Roundtable.
The Marching Roundtable, just specifically about Vandegrift High School and some ins and outs about what we do at the school, specifically on the developing goals and expectations for the program and leadership in the program, and trying to have a successful program that's not founded in competition. But that should be cool.
Yeah.
I think they do a great job. You can, let's hang out at TMEA. You know what I mean? Because I don't have to do an honor band concert.
Bring water for Mike. No. Mike drinks a lot of water now.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. We just got back from Vegas, and I think we went to bed at. We were out. We were zonked at like 10:30. We were done. Cute. It's one of those. So I don't need water quite like I used to. But yeah, so there's that thing going on, and there's going to be a big concert. The Sudler Shield concert.
Ah, yes,
is going to be on Thursday. I think it's May the 14th, whatever that Thursday is, 16th, something like that. Old W. Dale Warren,
of course,
coming down and doing a big concert to hopefully have some different composers and some different stuff going on.
Composers that may have been affiliated with the Vandegrift band in some way, shape, or form.
Some way, shape, or form.
Wow,
been part of the journey.
Did you know that I also did the fight song for 4 Points?
Don't they play our fight song?
Or is it the school song? Chris commissioned me to do something for the 4 Points middle school band. I think it's the fight song.
Is it?
I arranged.
Is it not the LSU fight song? Or did you arrange the LSU fight song?
No. They did It's either West Virginia or Virginia Tech or something.
Okay.
He picked one, and I made it easier for them, and my name is on that music. So
you also wrote a bunch of sight reading things for us at one point.
So in a lot of ways, I'm in the foundation of the Vandegrift High School band.
Yeah, the rock. The rock at the bottom.
I am the rock. That's right. Hey, man, if your foundation breaks, you're in trouble.
That's true.
You need that. So, wow, you've reminded of me, all of us, how integral I've been to the Vandegrift High School band program.
That's true. It's a long way from El Matador y La Rosa.
Thank you for bringing that all.
I have the video.
Tell you what, if you premiere one of my pieces or play a piece at Midwest, I will let you release that videotape.
I want Joe Hops to play.
Oh my God.
El Matador y La Rosa. And you have to sit there and stand at the end and be recognized.
Oh my God! That you can't tell at home, but I'm incredibly sweaty right now because this is very.
You're nervous.
I am.
You're more nervous right now than when you had to start writing the book for the Madison Scouts.
Oh God, that was nerve-wracking.
I think you should have put it in the show. By the way.
Well, El Matador has a lot of Malagueña in it, and Malaga.
There you go.
It has all of them.
I'm saying.
Well, Mike, it has been a pleasure to have you here today. You're an absolute delight. I usually put a joke here, but this whole podcast has been amazing and jokey. So thank you for coming and contributing to what I think so far. Sorry, Dan Morrison is the greatest episode of Sketchbook Podcast we've ever had.
Dan, are you hearing this right now?
I think right now he's shaving his head in disgust.
I think right now, Dan, it is 4:30 a.m.
4:30 a.m.
And Dan is eating like a
egg white
cup of oats.
A cup of oats
with no sugar and I don't know what he's about to run 7 miles. I don't know what he's gonna do.
And he's probably powerlifting and goes, I'll show you, Mike.
He probably is.
He's like, Ellie, add another plate, something like that.
I agree. He's planning that show. I can't wait to see it.
Up on the rooftop.
I heard it. They're going to Grand Nationals.
They are. So
that's going to be interesting.
I'm excited.
I told Amber that I'm forcing her to go up to Indianapolis with me so we can just hang out and watch the show.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And I'm going to just text Dan while he's stressed out.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Just tell him everything going to be okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
like
hey, man. Hey, good luck. Close your rehearsal.
Fine. It's no big deal.
TexasBands.com. Yeah, you're like, it's no big deal. You should snap a picture of your ring.
No big deal.
This episode of Sketchbook Podcast was recorded in Austin, Texas, and was edited and produced by me, Daniel Montoya Jr. Our logo is created by John Suh of Purpose Designs, and our music is provided by Epidemic Sound. If you enjoy Sketchbook, tell a friend about the show or share a link on social media. You can rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts, and you might find your review featured on a future episode. Got questions, comments, suggestions, or concerns? Email us at sketchbookpodcast@gmail.com. It too could be featured on a future episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @SketchbookPod and join the Sketchbook community on Facebook @Sketchbook Podcast. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sketchbook Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening.